Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Melissa. I'm a registered dietitian, and here on my channel we talk about all things food and nutrition. I'm in a little bit of a different setting today because I am watching my parents' dogs. So this is actually my childhood bedroom because it's the only place I could get somewhat decent lighting, so I hope it's not too bad. But today we are doing another video in my cultural food series. If you have not watched those videos before, I will link them wherever you link things. Basically, I'm just going to talk about a different country and their culture and their food because I love learning about that stuff and trying new food and all that jazz. So today we are going to talk about El Salvador, and I feel like I've been doing a lot, like the past like 2 or 3 have been Central or South American cuisine. So if you have another one that you would like me to do that's not Central or South American, let me know. Apparently I've just been in a Central or South American mood. So like I said, today we were doing El Salvador. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So El Salvador is right here on the map, Central America. And it's actually the only country in Central America that does not have a Caribbean border. So that makes it pretty unique in the region. It doesn't have that Caribbean Creole feel that a lot of Central American countries have. So basically most of the culture is pretty much directly descended from Spanish and the Spanish people who settled in El Salvador. And because of that, it's actually the least diverse country in Central America. I'm sorry, there's a puppy. Come on, come on, you can come on, you can come on. Oh, hi, Dewey. So anyway, so because of that, the food is also pretty unique because it really doesn't have much of a like African influence on it. It's pretty much, you know, the native like corn-based food with a little bit of European influence. And the most popular dish, and the dish we are talking about today, is papusas. So I actually tried papusas for the first time maybe like a month ago. I tried them at a place called La Marissa's, I think it is, in Raleigh. So if you haven't been there and you're in the Raleigh area, I would definitely suggest it. It was a very authentic place and I can't wait to go back. So anyways, papusas are a little bit like arepas if you watched my video about arepas, but they are a little bit different. They're basically corn tortillas that are stuffed with something. So it's most likely like cheese or kind of like shredded chicken, beans, pork, but rather than an arepa, which is kind of like almost more like an English muffin that it's like opened up and stuffed really full and you kind of eat it like a sandwich, a papusa is basically like a much thinner version of that, I guess. And I will put my picture here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But it pretty much just looks like a tortilla, but then you know, take a bite of it and it's stuffed with cheese or whatever. And they are normally served with a hot tomato-based sauce on the side of it, so you can dip it. And I personally really liked that sauce. The papusa itself doesn't have like a ton of flavor. I mean, like it obviously tastes like cheese and tortilla, but is nice to get that kind of interesting flavor with the sauce as well. So I thought this was kind of interesting. Papusas have a pretty rich history in El Salvador. So they know that they were started by the people, I think that's how you pronounce it, tribe, which settled in El Salvador because they have found evidence of their kind of food ways in different archaeological sites. There's actually a city called Hoya de Seren, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but it's basically the Pompeii of El Salvador. So it was a city that was buried in volcanic ash. And when they found this city, they found evidence of the cooking of papusas, which I think is really cool. And they were kind of just part of more like centralized towns and cities. And then as the population started to migrate, they were spread into places like Honduras and Guatemala. And when they did spread into those countries, they did vary a little bit in like shape and size. So if you do have a pupusa from a different country besides El Salvador, you might notice a little bit of a difference. And then they were brought to America around the 80s when there was war in El Salvador and Central America, and so a lot of people were coming to America and bringing pupusas along with them. So that is how we have come to have them in America today. And apparently there's also a lot in Canada and Australia, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, so that is the history of pupusas, a little bit about El Salvador and the food there. This was kind of a short and sweet one, but I hope that you learned something and I hope that you enjoyed this. Like I said, if you do have any other cuisines you would like me to try and that you would like to learn about, please let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. And yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.